Guys, we need to talk about black women in the industry. You know, being black in reality TV, in the entertainment industry in general. We have to shout out, you know, people like Nella, who's on I'm a Celeb, Trisha Noki, made it on Big Brother, and of course Whitney from Love Island. It's giving black honeys. So this episode, we had Henrie, who is a prominent DJ and presenter in the industry, and if you don't know, you're living under a rock. So Henrie was talking about, you know, being a black woman on reality TV in the industry, and how, you know, sometimes it can make you feel like you're not making an impact or not doing enough, because it is very oversaturated, but there is room for everyone. And that is something that you'll get from this episode, how Henrie had made it, her career so far, and what's next for her. So stay tuned and keep watching to hear everything me and Henrie chatted about. Welcome to another episode of The Digest, and today we have Henrie,
Hiya.
presenter, DJ, Bad B.
Oh my gosh, is
one
it?
and only.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Henrie, how
Yes,
have you been? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, baby. How are you?
I'm so gassed you're here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Like, if you guys know Henrie,
I'll stop.
she is a legend.
Hey.
Now, it's the funny... You're so funny, it's crazy.
God bless you. Thank you.
It's the beauty and the brains for me.
Stop. This is what you get paid to do, girl. No, thank you. Honestly, we actually thank God. I don't like see myself, not to say that I'm not funny, but I don't see myself as like the ha-ha babe. So actually being able to make people smile in any kind of way is a blessing. So.
But the thing is, it's unintentional. Like you literally just like tweet like your life stories.
I actually do.
Things that happen to you. It's so crazy.
Eventually, no. I've actually made a whole thing that I am going to stop doing that, because when you actually come out with original thoughts, I realised that I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago. So the same kind of like things that I used to tweet 5 years ago, I can't really even tweet now, because it's not the same, like whatsoever. So,
but then the same things happen, like
I'm not gonna lie, the same things definitely happen, but I don't know how much originality I can give to my thoughts online anymore, because treading on very scary waters.
Listen, the way social media is going, everyone is treading on.
Facts, regardless of who you are.
Anything you say,
facts,
misconstrued.
And do you know what, even as you say that, like obviously I don't use this as a means to say on my days go out and be a very stupid person online, that don't go and be crazy, but I think that even down to the littlest things that you wouldn't think that you have to explain, suddenly you're having to explain them. Do you know what I mean? Like the workings of your mind, when really when you tweet, some of the time we don't really tweet with that much, do you know what I mean, in mind anyway, which means again that we then have to go back and think about what we're tweeting before we tweet it. Do you get it? So that's why I'm like, let me also calm down.
But then we're just policing our thoughts.
I mean, in some ways, some thoughts need to be policed. Yes. Some things are kind of scary, and it's like if you're going to put it out there and you know it's going to like provoke people to no end for no reason, and you're causing a travesty online with those said thoughts, let them be in prison. Let them be policed, yes.
It's true. But you are a presenter, presenting to the masses. I love that. I love it. But you do Kiss 100, of course.
Yes.
But you also DJ.
Yes.
How did you get into that transition of DJ to presenting?
So I started off presenting first, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and that was like a love or passion that I had from when I was young. And I'd say it was like a passion because I used to see people on TV doing it and thinking, oh, raw, like I'd love to be able to do that, but just none of them looked like me. So when I got into uni, or before uni actually, I started working at Represent. I did it as a volunteer like work experience, so literally when I was in school, and then left, got into uni, started doing Leeds student radio because I went to the University of Leeds. And then when I was there, the show was called All Things Urban because there was literally no other black show on the station, but Urban was like the easiest thing to like, do you know what I mean, put it together at that time, innit? And then the station manager at the time was like, oh yeah, you should put your shows up for like the student awards, like there were student radio awards. I didn't do it because I didn't think that the show was good enough, or I didn't think anybody cared, or maybe I didn't believe him or whatever, but I just didn't do it. And then once I got out, I sent the reels of my shows at student radio to the manager at the time of Represent Radio, so back to where I started, and then I got a show, and then that's how that started. And then the DJing kind of came a bit after I was at Represent and a little bit in uni as well. I was seeing people around me DJ, and I was like, this is such an insane skill. I'd love to be able to do that with the music and genres that I like. So I got someone, shout out Donch DJ, I got him to teach me, and that's how we started.
That is such a good backstory.
It's a cute story still.
Full circle. I was literally listening like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you submit your work to the awards? What made you feel like it wasn't good enough?
I didn't feel like I was, this is so dumb when I think back at it, but I didn't think I was making an impact. I didn't think anyone cared about it. And I didn't think that someone like me could be at because it's national, do you know what I mean? It's for the whole of the country, and it's like actually a really big thing. So I didn't know until after, but then that was me being dumb as well. Like some of the biggest presenters that actually came to Leeds as well won awards at the Student Radio Awards. I just didn't think I could do it. Everybody else that was going up was white. I was the only one, and I was just tired of feeling like the only one. So I just left it. I was like, oh no, never mind. And then when the year came that I graduated and it was time to now start looking for things that will actually benefit me, Represent Radio was still there, so it was a blessing.
And Represent is like the home to like all the legends. Like
I'm not gonna lie, there's so many people that you see, and I can name them all that are doing things right now. Bare of them came from Represent Radio. They did really well with that. That is
a really smart thing to do, because obviously at the time mainstream radio stations like Capital and everything were going on, and there wasn't really like a home, because obviously Capital Extra hadn't been birthed just yet. Obviously Kiss 100, I used to love Kiss 100 all the way to school.
Really? Well, to be fair, before it was Kiss, it was Troy.
Yeah.
So I remember listening. I don't think I was like much of a radio listener when I was growing up, mind, but I remember tuning into Choice FM and being like, no, what's this? No, what's this? This is so cool. And I can't remember, but I feel like it was a breakfast show. Yeah. And I was like, this is insane. Like, how are they remembering all of these words? How are their sentences so well put together? Like, what are they doing in there? And I was like, oh yeah, this is something that I'd love to be able to do.
And that's moving on to my next one. How did you get into Kiss 100 that year?
So with Kiss, what was I already doing at the time? So with Kiss, this was during lockdown, and I had already got my show at Spotify, I believe. Yeah, it was Spotify. Yeah, so we had a show at Spotify, a podcast called Who We Be Talks. It was me and Harry Panero. I had the best time doing that, and as we were doing that, I think that somebody at Kiss already had their eyes, by the grace of God, on me, on what I was doing or whatever, and then they reached out to me and was like, oh yeah, like, would you consider? And I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So that's kind of how it all came together.
And Who We Be, I loved Who We Be.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun.
Amazing guest.
Oh baby.
Who was your best guest on there, do you think?
My favourite one had to have been Idris Elba.
Okay, yeah.
There was something about that whole day. So the whole day consisted of us getting there really early, because there's something that we wanted to do. I think maybe it was for Black History Month, maybe, and it was to give Black women their flowers. So throughout that whole day, it had taken us hours to get to Little Sims. We got to the MP, Diane Abbott. We went to the lady that does Jocelyn, Little Miss Jocelyn, yeah. We went to, I can't remember who else we went to now, but we visited basically Black women, and we were, Keisha from Sugar Babes. Oh, nice. And we literally went to them to physically give them flowers. Oh. So it had been a long and arduous day anyway. So it had been a really long day. And then we were like, oh yeah, we still have Idris Elba to do. Like, we can't even go home. So we got back to the studio. It is pitch black in the night. Harry slept for like an hour.
One thing about Harry.
Yeah, no, as in when I say sprawl out, like he was literally slept, yeah. And I think maybe I'd like dozed off or something. And then you just hear this like booming voice coming through like the corridor. And we're like, crap, Idris Elba's like here. So that interview just went so well, because when you think about it, we'd had like a long day of doing some incredible stuff. And then the Idris interview just like topped off like the whole thing. It was so good.
No, I love that. And Idris is a legend.
Oh, hello. He came into the room and I was like, you couldn't even be nervous anymore, because we'd had the longest day. Do you know what I mean? So we couldn't, there was no time to be nervous. There was nothing. This was us like in our natural state, just fully enjoying ourselves. And I was just like, I loved it. It was great.
Oh, I love that. What was that process like of learning how to DJ for you?
It actually wasn't that hard. I know I don't want to sound like that person, but it actually wasn't. It wasn't that hard for me whatsoever. Once you understand like the mechanics of DJing, it becomes easy in terms of literally transitioning from one song to another. The rest of it comes from style and flair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he was teaching me, and I think also how he taught me was super hard.
Okay.
Compared to like, let's say if you wanted to just go get decks that exist in a club, it would be easier to do it via that than the way that Donch taught me. I was taught on vinyl, which is, I don't know who Donch thought he was, like going on like he's Miss Trunchbull. Literally vinyl, and so that means that on usual decks you can see like the tempo, the BPM and stuff, and therefore you can change it so it can suit the other song, and so you can mix the song.
Didn't see that.
There's no BPMs, so you're listening. You're listening to one, and do you know what? As I say this, I feel like I sound like a little bit of a brat because this is no. Do you know why? Because people came up DJing like this.
Okay.
People came up DJing with no BPMs. Somebody somewhere just decided that it's the 21st century, so let's make it easier for people. But I'm telling you right now, he would close his laptop and he'd put on 2 songs from 2 different genres, Justin Timberlake in one, and maybe like one rock song from the other.
God.
And he'd be like, all right, cool, match the songs so that they're in time. And so I'm there like trying to change the tempo by ear and like start the song again so that we could actually like blend the time. So that's how I learned how to DJ. Yeah.
And do you think that helped you more, learning it the hard way?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Do you know what? Like learning it that way allowed me to, like be able to hear the music more and know that I can actually genre blend, which is what I actually started doing in the beginning of my whole DJing career. Like my first ever mix that's out there, it's me going from house to Afrobeats, from Afrobeats to drill, from drill to, I loved a good genre blend. So now that kind of music, especially like Edison, that is really popular now, I'm like, that's incredible because that's what I started off doing. I used to love it.
And what is kind of the 2 genres that you love to blend the most?
House music and drill will always go together. And it's going to sound insane.
No, honestly, to the wider public, that would sound crazy. I'm
telling you right now. So I remember being at Represent, just like practicing how to DJ. And I remember mixing the 2 songs, Designer All My Attire. The broke boys over there looking retired. And Calvin Harris's If I See a Light Flashing, does this mean that and I'm telling you right now, it goes. Let it hit the club. Listen, once we realize as a community, as a people in the world, that we can do this and have a sound go off, the kind of music that could be made is insane.
It's crazy.
Because those songs have no business going together, but they really, really go.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Interesting. Henry, you've got to do a party of just house and Afrobeats.
Do you know what? I think I would actually love to do but it requires, I don't know what it requires, but it requires people that have an open mind, that don't mind actually hearing music that they don't know, that maybe sometimes they don't understand.
It's true.
So it'll be fun.
A lot of comments online of like people saying, you know, people in a dance, they don't really have that open mind. Do you feel like you get that when you do DJing?
So it's a bit of a hard one because I don't DJ like the events that people typically go to in London. I DJ things that are a little bit like weird and different, and because it means that you do have the space to actually do stuff. And don't get me wrong, you will see me DJ at a couple of parties in London and I will play you a sick dancehall or Afrobeat set. I don't want to be spoken to, right? But outside of that, I'm telling you right now, once you hit like the house genre, you just feel something like it's a completely different vibe. You are now jumping up and down. It's not even about swaying anymore. Your whole body is just moving to the music. Do you know what I mean? And there's something, it's so funny that you even asked this question because I was listening to a random song like the other day. I can't even tell you what language it was, maybe like Portuguese or something. And I'm like, this is so banging. I'd love to be able to play it in a club. But because of, I think, even how we are, like how we've been brought up, the kind of music that we've been brought up on and what we expect to hear, I can't even come and play that. Do you know what I mean? In a set.
True.
But I went to Cannes one time last year and I DJ'd for 8 days straight, just playing music, like random music, but blending it together. It was too sexy.
Able to experiment a bit.
Girly, everybody was moving. Like I had the best time. It was so good.
Okay, how does DJ differ from presenting?
Oh my gosh, this is a really good question. I've never actually thought about it. Okay, cool. So when you're presenting, and this is like studio presenting, you don't have to worry about a crowd. It's just you and the guest, and you lot are chatting. But with a DJ set, bro, if you're playing a good couple of succession of songs and the people aren't feeling it, you're really in trouble. Like, what is happening? Change the music. So you don't really have to worry about a crowd. Yeah. But with a DJ set, bro, if you're playing a good couple of succession of songs and the people aren't feeling it, you're really in trouble. Like, what is happening? Change the music. So you don't really have to worry about a crowd. Yeah. Obviously with DJing, unless I'm like on a mic, you don't really have to worry about what you say. Okay. Whereas with presenting, you definitely do. Yeah. It takes two different frames of mind, because I mean, do you know what? Maybe there are some similarities, because with DJing, you have to think, oh, what song goes with this? Mm-hmm. And then with presenting, it's like, oh, what is the next question I can ask off the back of this? Yeah. So maybe they do have some transferable skills between them. But for my mind, I think I do use different parts of it for each bit, I think, maybe. Yeah.
No, but like your style and flair is still the same, pretty much.
Do you know what? I'm going to say, yeah. I think that my music taste, especially in the music that I play, regardless of where I play, I think it definitely reflects my personality, and same with my presenting style as well.
Have you ever had where someone's like just standing there and like, oh, can you change the song? Like you just mentioned. And how do you overcome that?
I don't think I've ever had anyone say, on my days, can you change the song? But I've definitely had sets where it's like a slow start. Okay. But then because of the kind of times that I end up playing, unless it's like a main set kind of thing, I like doing like 1 or 2 sets before like the main set, because I love like the idea of like warming up a crowd. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you're good at warming up a crowd, that actually means you're a good DJ. That's good. Do you know what I mean? Because it means you don't have to just come in and play like the bangers, because you've really been like getting the crowd going from the start. Exactly. So I like doing like not the first set and maybe not the second set, but I like doing like the third, maybe fourth set before like the main act goes on, so I can like have a little bit of fun with it. So I haven't had anyone come up to me and say, oh my gosh, can you change this music? But I definitely had like crowds where it's a slow start, which it would be, do you know what I mean, for any party.
That's interesting that you said that you wouldn't mind warming up, because a lot of these artists, they get really upset if they're on a smaller print or they...
Oh no, do you know what? I'm not gonna lie, like I don't mind being a headliner, but over time I've definitely opted for not doing that and being the ones like, but literally 1 or 2 before, because you still get to have an incredible time and you still get to play lots of great music. And I love the idea of not having to play all of like the big bangers to be able to have a great set. Do you know what I mean? That's true. So yeah.
And do you get nervous at all when DJing or even presenting?
Both. I do feel nerves, but I try to not let it control me, by God's grace. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, we're all human. We're all going to feel like, oh my gosh, but I try not to let it even be a thought in my mind, because once you start doing it, how can you now come? I beg, I can't. You just need to do the job and go. Do you know what I mean?
How do you overcome the nerves if you do get?
Prayer. With me and my producer at Kiss, especially like Kiss First Show, we get all the guests. Yeah. We pray before every single interview now. Like, it's a must. That way we know like God's presence is there. And if we decide that we want to be nervous, then that's us. Do you know what I mean? If we decide that we want to go off course, then that's us. But if you let the Spirit of the Lord just go before you, do you know what I mean? So yeah, pretty much.
That's actually good. And you love talking about God.
I do.
God, I love that.
It's a big part. Yeah,
it is, and it's good. And obviously, you did an interview with Stormzy, and you were saying to him how seeing him talking about God kind of made you want to do it a bit more.
Absolutely,
and everything. What made you say that?
Do you know what? Sorry, I was like, no. But with that specific story, it's so cool, number one, how he's able to do that. And I think I remember seeing him, I was working out in Ghana and I saw him headline in Ghana. Okay. Yes, I saw him headline in Ghana. So I was with Spotify and he was like on stage, and I remember him saying on a stage, and there's bare people out there, you know, we're talking about a festival, right? And he goes, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna serve my God. Like, I'm gonna serve God on this stage. And I was like, right, if he can do this and he's big Stormzy and he's not even afraid or scared of nothing, what makes me Do you know what I mean? And all I have to do is just turn up and present one day or 2 days. Do you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I speak about how God has worked in my life as well? So I'm like, yeah, if he can do that and not feel any kind of fear for it, then why should I feel fear as well? So when I spoke to him about it, I was like, yeah, it's sick how we can see somebody that's in your position doing that, because it means that it frees it up for the rest of us to be able to do it as well, comfortably.
That's the key word, comfortably, because you do it, but you know, sometimes people get a bit afraid, like, oh, is it a bit too much for the mass kind of thing?
And do you know what? And that is another thing as well. Like, speaking up for God in the face of adversity is such a big thing, because like when you deep it, a lot of people could have so much to lose by just saying, all right, cool, I'm a believer, or this, or maybe people might think that they're talking about it too much. But with that at stake, how much more can I show that I'm for God? Do you know what I mean? So period.
And obviously, Stormzy, you've interviewed so many people. Who's been the biggest person you've interviewed?
The biggest. So the biggest person I've interviewed, I think, might be Burna Boy, but that's huge for me in my household. He's the biggest person, because I remember watching him or seeing his growth from early on in his career. What's one of his first songs? Tonight and said tonight will be a night. 7, 8, 9, 10. Bro, I should have even spoken to him about that, because bro.
Nah, you should
that went
with him.
Double platinum in my household. Are you crazy?
My sister banged that on her daily.
And do you know what's so sick about Burna Boy? He always started being different. Yeah. Because that song had no business being what it was at the time. Knowing what Afrobeats was like and knowing what UK music was like. It was like a really good combination of everything that we know and love about music. Bro, so good. So I think he might be the biggest person for me. Nice. Outside of that, maybe Lato. Lato is huge. Fave. What I love about the interviews that we do is that I always end up leaving thinking, or feeling at least like I've made a friend that day. Nice. Do you know what I mean? Nice. So she was great. I think those two might be the biggest. However, I'm not gonna lie, we've done so many people.
Honestly, I was probably thinking, actually,
there was another person. No, for real.
Who's been the most interesting?
Burna Boy.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. I know. You know what you have to give him? You have to give him his flowers, man. He was so interesting, Burna, because I don't know what I was expecting. I actually don't even know what I was expecting at all. But when he came in and we sat down, first of all, he was like, oh my gosh, I really like your outfit. And I was like, oh my days, babe, we're going to have the best time here. No, stop. Because I couldn't. You know the ones that used to have to be professional? Stop. I was just like, do you know what? Yeah, I can tell already that this is going to be a sick interview, because I can already gauge that we're on a level. And then when he started talking, I was like, right, he's really like opening up, like he's really saying a lot. And obviously I was happy that it meant that I was asking the right questions as well. So just everything that he was saying, I was like, babe, you should just start a podcast when you're ready, audiobook.
I love it, because he doesn't actually talk that much, like outside of...
When I say he doesn't, so I was surprised, but very pleasantly surprised that he came on the show and he was really like, he was really open. I loved it.
That's a testament to your job then.
Well, we thank God, girl, because honestly, it was so much fun. That was my favourite interview, I think.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And who are your inspirations in the field?
Do you know what? It's really a hard one, because I don't have any inspirations per se. I think that there were definitely people who I saw doing interviews. I was like, oh my days, that's sick. Like, for example, Maya, when she was on social media, and I remember seeing her, I think when she was at like Rinse FM. No, Rinse? Yeah, it was Rinse. She was at Rinse. And I remember like coming across her profile, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is so sick. I love her personality. I love everything. I loved seeing Julia Denuga. I loved seeing Sian Anderson. I loved seeing like all like the women, especially black women, interviewing and being sick at it. But I will say that although I was like, yeah, this is incredible content, I can't say that I have anyone that really influences me, because even the way that I speak to guests and stuff, it's literally like this, babe. Honestly, it's like we're just having a conversation with your friend from school that you haven't seen in years, asking them like what's been going on in their life, innit? So yeah.
So who would be your dream guest on your show?
That is a really good question. Who would I really love to have on the show? A lot of the time I do say Rihanna. Okay. Because it's like an easy, oh my gosh, she doesn't want Rihanna on the show.
I'm surprised you didn't say Beyonce.
I think Beyonce is amazing. Yeah. However, because of how to herself she is. I feel like she wants to keep that mystery, and I'm happy to let her keep it. Do you know them ones there? It's not everything that you have to speak about. And Beyonce is so big that she doesn't need Henry interview. Do you know what I mean? She don't need me interviewing. She don't need me interviewing her. She don't.
You know that? You don't
But
know.
no, Rihanna for me, like her whole personality is so like cool girl that I'd love to see how being Bayesian kind of influences her character and who she's like. Move out the way. Like I need to know who you are. Do you know what I mean? So Rihanna would be a really good one. I'm really trying to think of who in the UK specifically I would love to speak to.
UK, Adele.
Oh, well done. Adele would be insane.
What?
That would be so good.
Tottenham girl.
Yeah. Adele would be good. Yeah, that would be 10 out of 10. Yeah. She'd be the one. Yeah.
I love that. And how do you prepare for these interviews? You've obviously said you pray and everything. What else do you do?
So actual interview prep.
Yeah.
My producer, shout out Shanette, she's incredible at her job. We would go through the kind of like themes, I guess, that we'd want to speak to each person about, what is like, I guess, unique, I guess, to them, and best ways to be able to get the best out of their personality and mine at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty, literally when I say that's pretty much it. And then we would like work out a framework, like split into like 3 parts and be like, yeah, we're going to do this in the first bit, this in the second bit, and then Henry's hotline for the last bit.
Henry's hotline.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that concept?
Shout out to John T at Kiss. I can't remember who came up with the name. Maybe it was him, but we were just like toying with the idea of a concept for the show when I first ever got my show.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And it was actually really, I think I initially wanted it to be a agony aunt kind of thing. So like people call up and be like, yeah, Henry's hotline, I want to talk about such and such. But then this is why it's good to not follow your own way and do what God tells you to do, because it changed everything, like putting it towards an artist or a guest in the studio. So yeah.
And because you might get like crazy people calling in. Like,
and that's the thing. And it would have been funny, but do you know what I mean? To what end?
To what extent?
Yeah, for real.
I love that. And who would you say has been like the most, not problematic, but hardest to talk to for your interviews?
I don't actually think I've had one. Genuinely, like every single person that we've had on the show has been really forthcoming, really energetic, and actually really willing to talk and to speak and to, do you know what I mean, engage in conversation. So I've been blessed to have had a good time with all of my interviews. Do
you ever get like kind of apprehensive in case they are?
I used to, but then I've learned to no longer do that because we are all human beings. So like, why would I get nervous or afraid when that other person's not nervous or afraid? And you never know actually if they are, because if you are comfortable in yourself, then it ends up being that your calmness ends up calming them.
And do you ever listen to yourself back?
No.
Really? What?
Like maybe I've done it like maybe twice.
To say that.
I've done it like twice, as in audio alone. Like no, maybe like twice or 3 times.
I hate listening to myself. I'm scared. Of
same, but I watch a video though.
Okay.
If it's visual, I watch.
They're funny.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Are you critical of your work? So like when you do listen to them back, if you see a video, how critical are you of it?
Do you know what? I think because a lot of people see like the smiley Henry, which I am, okay? I smile all the time.
You do. You love it.
I am quite smiley and I am quite fun-loving, but when it comes to work, I'm so serious about it. I think to the point where people don't expect me to be as serious as I am when it comes to actually, no, this needs to look a certain way. This needs to, you know, can we cut that bit out? Can we put this bit in? Like, because obviously we all want for us all to have the best content 100%. Out there. So yeah, I am quite hardcore about the content about.
How do you overcome kind of being overcritical though?
I don't know if I'm over it yet.
Okay.
But I like the idea of being self-critical.
Yes.
I don't want to say overly, but bro, like, not even just in terms of work, but in terms of my personal life, in terms of my walk with God. Like, if I start off there and I'm like, I'm going to be overcritical in that, then it just spreads out into everything. And if you are overcritical, it means that you are conscious about all that you're doing all the time. Do you know what I mean? And it's important. So
and it just shows passion for your work.
It actually shows that you care.
It literally shows you care. And of course, Nella is on I'm a Celebrity.
So excited.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's iconic.
I think her being there, I was like, bro, Nella Rose is in here. I am tuned in. Like, I don't want to be spoken. I'm tuned in. Like, I was so happy when her name was on there. And also a black woman who's always has been authentically herself, as in like who she is online and everything. Like we see the same of her constantly. I'm like, it made sense.
It made sense, 100%. And the fact that she was doing like YouTubing and everything. And
I used to watch her. I remember being like, I can't remember where I was because I'm older than her. But I remember her doing like the YouTube, especially at the start.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is such a great concept.
Iconic
like,
format.
how good. And it's so simple.
Literally.
And you can tell just from who she is as well that her personality is so bright.
Exactly. And would you ever do I'm a Celeb?
No.
What?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Listen, sometimes the idea of doing reality TV in general, a bit scary.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to just accidentally see me wigless. I'm like, excuse me.
Not the wigless. What are you saying?
No, because for all of us, it's prison cameras. I'm never gonna lie. Underneath this, like, do you know what I mean? Not that I won't look pretty, we will. But at the same time, I don't want to be caught off guard.
I don't want to be doing
for
big
hello. That's number 2, and then I'm a celeb. Are you joking?
No, actually.
I saw Nella open the thing and spat.
Did you see the thing she was eating?
I couldn't finish it. Are you joking? What else can I now watch after I've seen spiders? I don't want to see no spider. I don't want to see no. I don't want to see no. I don't want anything flying into my mouth, into my ears, into my nostrils. I'm okay.
That is crazy. And you mentioned, being black on mainstream TV.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're represented enough, or do you feel like we still have a long way to go?
I think that because of the world we live in, we are always going to be underrepresented. It's unfortunate, but it is the world that we live in. And I'm sorry if that sounds pessimistic, but I genuinely do think we're always going to be underrepresented. So yeah, there could 100% definitely be more across the board.
It's true. And you said you don't want to ever go on reality TV.
I'm not going to say never.
Never say never.
If it involves me eating anything scary, stop.
Nah.
Just hold that email, okay?
Nah.
Keep it in the outbox. Because I can't. But anything else, I mean, I don't mind. I'd rather present it.
Yeah,
Why? I'd rather present it.
Oh, amazing. Fingers crossed for you.
By God's grace.
God's grace. And what can we expect from you in, 5 to 10 years? You have a 5-year plan, 10 years?
Girl, do I know what I'm doing tomorrow?
Oh,
stop it.
That's how we got our money.
Yeah. Period. No, do you know what? I don't have a plan. I don't like planning.
Okay.
Because you will only ever be living up to said plan. And if it doesn't work out, you're going to end up feeling like a failure.
That's it.
And then you're not even going to be able to appreciate all that you have achieved in that time.
That's it.
So no plans, no goals. Obviously, there's things that I'd love to be able to do. Yeah. I'd love to be able to do TV. I'd love to be able to travel and work, which I do already, so thank God, but travel more and work. But is there a goal? This is what I see Henrie being in 5 years' time? No. Because also, imagine you set yourself a goal and God wants more for you, but then now you've just settled. Do you know what I mean? Stop. Let me just let the spirit lead.
That's it.
And then that means whatever comes my way, I'll be way more appreciative of.
That's 100% true. And what advice would you give to, people that are starting out in the presenting world, the DJing world? What should they do and not do, kind of thing?
So presenting, I think that especially if you've got an idea, don't come and wait for a platform. Don't beg a platform. Do it yourself. Because when you start out and you're the one that's asking the platform, it means that they have all the power to be like, oh, actually, but we want you to look like this and be like this and speak like this. Definitely. Whereas it's the other way around and you've kind of built yourself or built a platform anyway, then you have autonomy. You have the power to say yes and to say no. Do you know what I mean? So there's that. If you have an idea to shoot something, you don't need big boy cameras.
That's it.
I mean, I know that you've got them. Sorry, not to offend anybody here, okay? No, stop. Sis has very serious people here, right? They're doing very serious jobs.
We need to pan to our producer.
This camera right here is the size of a planet. But you don't actually need all of that if you're just starting. You'll realize that people love authentic content regardless. So if you have an iPhone, as long as it's clear, it even films in 4K. Do it. And don't think too much about it, because there's one thing that I've learned, what Satan would actually try and say is, oh my days, this is so cringe. Like, what will people say about it? Like, oh my days, my friends are here. Like, what would they say? But what we don't actually know is that cringe content, that's actually, it gets the numbers. People genuinely love it. And even if people are just watching it just to say that this is cringe, baby, you've just given me my next view. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's gone from 9 views to 10. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? Like, thanks.
Yeah.
And I realized that, like, over time, because I remember somebody on TikTok, and I'm trying my best to not clap back anymore. Yeah. Let God fight all the battles. But on TikTok, somebody was like to me, I think they said something mean about the content. And I was like, oh, well, that's incredible, babe, because you've just given me my engagement by commenting on this. So thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So obviously I need to get way better at that, way better at dealing with like negative comments from other people. But then what I also need to realize, which I do know, is that even those negative comments, regardless of what you think you're doing, you're still helping.
Definitely.
Because you've now, do you know what I mean? Even if it's to post to your story and say, oh my gosh, this is so shit, you've posted it to your story. So 2,000 of your followers have seen my stuff and I haven't had to do nothing. Just sit back and relax and let you talk.
Thank you.
Let's keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, bro, let's keep going.
It's actually true.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I wish everyone had that mentality.
I still need to get that mentality myself.
Honestly, doing this, I was like, guys, I'm so scared.
No, for real, I still need to get that mentality myself. But when you realise that that's especially people in the UK that we love to be upset about quite a lot of things all the time, use it.
UK. It's another topic for
Right.
But thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, girl. This was really cute.
You're
thank you.
Legend.
Thank you. Stop calling me a legend. I was literally born yesterday.
They call me a queen.
Yeah.
Queen.
Do you know what it is about the queen thing? Here's my thing. Sometimes I just want to be a townsperson. How do you know I'm not selling meat on the market? Do you know what I mean? I would love that to be me.
Yeah, you could be queen of meat.
I don't want to be... Now, that just sounds insane. Do you get it? This is why you can't just be queens of anything that you just want to be. Do you get it? Because now somebody's out there calling you the queen of meat, and that's not what you wanted for yourself. Thank you.
No, but thank you.
No, thank you for having me, girl.
To you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
You're a babe, and I love what you're doing as well, by the way. Every single time I see you in my mentions, I'm like, oh, have I made it? Like, wow.
No, I'm trying, you know.
Thank you, honey.
Like you said, don't wait for a platform.
Absolutely, period. There we go.
So that's it from this episode of The Digest. Thank you for listening. Make sure you share, like, comment and subscribe. Leave your thoughts down below. Tell a friend to watch.